Shalom, everyone. I hope that you are doing fabulous. If you're returning back, welcome back. And if you're new, listen, I'm not a churchy channel at all. It could appear that way, but listen, some things may appear some way to you, and they're not that way at all. And so if you stick around, you'll just learn me as we go. I am a tarot reader, but I read a little different. The scriptures found in the tarot. So if you didn't know that, a lot of people know it, a lot of people don't know it, but it is found in the scripture. And I keep all 10 of the commandments, but I don't have any churchy mindsets. The great one can speak any way he wants to, okay? But oftentimes I get on here and let the great one also speak through the scripture itself and open it up and allow him to speak and to reveal to us where we are finding ourselves in the now. My channel looks at a lot of criminal activity most of the time, and I uproot wickedness because we're living in a really wicked time. I mean, it's just disgusting energy in the earth, but it's prophecy unfolding in front of us. And we were told that this time would be like the days of Noah, and there was only 8 people that made it the last time when the flood came. And we're told in the book of Daniel and in the New Testament by the Christ that the end would come with a flood. And so I get on here, and when the great one is speaking through me, which is Jehovah Elohim, maker of heaven and earth. People call him the universe, but he has a name, and he is tells us who he is in the Old Testament when he is speaking with Moses, and he says, I am the I am what I am. But he also goes in that same portion, he says, my name forever is Yehovah, the YHVH'S. So anyway, you will hear me on this channel connecting with the only wise king. There is none other but Yehovah. He is Yeshua. He is our salvation. But he also begat a son, and he tells us to kiss the son lest he be angry with us. And so I do. And it is the son of David. And anyway, this is just who I am. So I could appear real churchy, but I'm really not. I'm for the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. And Yehovah is very profound on this channel. Okay. Today, I was taken to Isaiah, and I've come and have shared with you some things in Isaiah where Jehovah had brought out the pandemic that was going on in the book of Isaiah and laid it out, showed you in the tarot as well by way of the pictograph, how it was also found there, and then read it right out scripture. But there is also same kind of on the same type of line in prophetic timing that we find ourselves where this, flood-like type spiritual flood is being found within our today world in another portion of scripture where he showed me. And he's actually, it's in Isaiah 28, and he is talking to the crown of pride, Ephraim, one of the tribes of the sons of Joseph in the tribes of Israel. Ephraim was one of his sons, but he's saying woe to them. And for the last, I guess it was last week or last 4 or 5 days ago, I did some combination readings, and we kept having the crown in the side of the head and the temple in the side of the head and stuff like that. And we can find Jehovah addressing the crown of pride to the drunkards of Ephraim. First of all, we see Christ turning the water into wine. We have, I don't think it's a sin to drink, but there is a sin and a fine line to being a drunkard if that's all you do, and you get up and that you drink from morning to night and night to morning, and that's all you do, and then there's a problem with that. Everything should be in moderation. We can find all kinds of stuff in the scripture, and so I'm not your judge. You must weigh out who you are between you and the great one. But he is speaking with those who are into strong drink and being in pride, and how it's also affected both the priest and the prophet, and that their tables were full of vomit and stuff like that. And he's really been bringing out a lot of stuff about churchy like stuff on the channel as I shared this morning. But I want to talk about the day of consumption that we are finding ourselves in. because I spoke about today how we can find in Scripture when Jehovah began to talk to me about the cannibalism stuff that's all over, and when we're not cleaving to Jehovah, that, you know, there'd be a great big consumption. All who left Jehovah would be consumed because he is our shield. And in this chapter, actually, it speaks about how the consumption is decreed and determined to be over the whole earth. And we are here. But he says, woe to the crown of pride. And I've talked about in the book of Daniel where we can find pride turning people into beasts and stiff-necked, hearted stupidness. Okay? But woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which are on the head of the fat valleys of them that are overcome with wine. Behold, Jehovah has a mighty and a strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm. Yesterday he brought out a tropical storm, or the day before yesterday he's been talking about storm and the stormy waters, and we're talking about hail. Hell in the runes is the sacrificing, and the hangman in the tarot is stormy waters. Okay, so it's all here intertwined. And so Jehovah has a mighty and a strong one, which as a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, as a flood of mighty waters overflowing, shall cast down to the earth with violence. He's speaking to the crown of pride. I want to go over here and start here with those people who are wicked at their heart. I just did a reading in one of those scriptures that came out in my homemade deck. Jehovah said that these people's hearts are wax gross. Because they're brutish people. And people who are prideful, they turn into the beast and they don't care. And this is all about me, me, me. And just as long as I can do what I want, you know, they become filthy. It states here that they had made an agreement with hell itself. And it says here, because you have said, we've made a covenant with death and with Sheol, are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it's not going to come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood we have hid ourselves. You know, that word scourge means a whip. It means to strip off the skin and to flay and to strip off the hide. And so they're sitting here saying, when this big old flood, this tempest of hell comes our way, this mighty water, this overflowing cast of violence comes our way, because I've made, and we all have made an agreement with Sheol itself, and we're taking refuge in our lives within these lies. When the whip comes and slashes everybody else, we're free from it, because we got our numbers are here, man. Our numbers are here. Our numbers are here, man. And Jehovah's telling them that, therefore, you know, he's laid in Zion a foundation, a stone, a precious stone, a sure foundation. And he that believes shall not make haste. Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet. And the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the water shall overflow the hiding place. You ain't going to be able to hide anywhere, people. You ain't going to be able to hide. We don't give a rip how big your numbers are. Jehovah don't give a rip. You can go hide in your rocks and do whatever and say, look, I made an agreement with hell. You can't touch us, God, because we got all this stuff. You're not going to strip my body and flay my skin and rip it off my hide, because I got an agreement with hell here. No, sorry. Your covenant with hell, it's actually going to destroy you, because the hell is going to sweep away this refuge of lies, and the waters are going to overflow your hiding place. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled then, and your agreement with Sheol shall not stand, he says. And when the overflowing scourge of these whips and this dropping down real sharp, real quick to strip off even hide, is taking place, it shall pass through, and then you will be trodden down by it, he says. For the time that it goes forth, it shall take you, morning by morning shall it pass over, day and by night, and you will be terrified when he will make you to understand this vision. Are you understanding it? That reading that I just did a minute ago where the card came out and YHVH said these people's hearts are waxed gross. We also had people in another card said, I know that I lied, but I didn't want to go to jail, and they were forsaking and confessing their sins so that they could find mercy. You better run to the mercy seat. What I found was kind of interesting was, let me see here. So from the time that it goes forth, let me just continue. From the time that it goes forth, it shall take you, for morning by morning shall it pass over, by day and by night, and you will be terrified when it will make you to understand the vision, when he will make you understand the vision. For the bed is shorter than that a man can stretch himself on it, and the covering narrower than that he can wrap himself in it. For YHVH shall rise up as in Mount Perazim, and shall be wroth as in the valley of Gibeon. When I went to look that up, because I just kind of wanted to see a little bit about Gibeon, it was a genocide there, taking out tribes of people and stuff like that. Anyway, in the valley of Gibeon, that he may do his work, his strange work, just to get rid of the stupidness, because, oh my God, we got a covenant man with death. He can't touch us, God. Well, he's going to do a strange work on these people with their gross hearts. Okay? A real strange work. And he's going to bring it to pass, his act, his strange act. Now, therefore, be ye not mockers. We had mockers come out today. Somebody who mocked came out today on the channel. Lest your bands be made strong. For I have heard from YHVH of hosts a consumption even determined upon the whole earth. So give ear and hear. Hear my voice and hearken. And hear my speech, is what he's saying. This consumption obviously goes to eating things. Like I said, we can find in the scripture all kinds of stuff of bloodthirsty men in the church and everybody else all over the world being drunk on blood, and the world is reeling to and fro. But it also had a meaning of wasting of the body by a disease as well. It went to also being related to involving your lung area and wasting the body within the lung area as well. And we're talking about the pandemic and things like that, and then, for eating things or putting something in your body, or whatever is all entailed with that's going on with the pandemic and stuff like that. Just something being consumed, and also giving way to YHVH's strange work being tied in with this and wasting the body away to a destruction. And it's decreed to the whole earth. And we're seeing the whole earth go through all kinds of stuff right now. And I shared on the channel, I'm not sure where I'm at on my time. I shared on the channel, on one of my older channels, I may have touched on this channel before, that back in 2013, 2014, I had a dream that shook me for days afterward, and I literally was seeing something being thrust to the earth itself. Talk about, YHVH is sending a destroying storm, a tempest of hail, as a flood, mighty waters overflowing and casting down to the earth with violence. That's what I saw. I seen teeth coming to the earth. But when I stood afar in this dream / vision, it was a dream, but it was so clear to me. I've got a picture of the earth, and the earth was completely covered with symbols and different shapes and how do I describe this? There was like lines and stuff that were connecting to each one of these symbols, and it covered the whole earth. Okay, it just covered the whole earth. And here was being thrusted these huge teeth and this fiery ball coming down on the earth. And for a moment in my dream, I stood right, it was as if, you know, dreams are, I stood right in front of that thing face to face and got a glimpse of those great big old teeth coming. And I spoke about that actually not too long ago when I was talking about the beast in the book of Daniel, about pride, turning people into that stupidness and stiff-neckedness. But the whole earth is being consumed by those teeth and is not going to be able to escape this consumption that we find ourselves, except if you are keeping covenant with Jehovah. He said we're not going to feel no evil thing. He said that when the destruction comes, that we would be protected from it. He didn't say that it wasn't coming, but he's going to protect us. For our foot will not be taken within it. If you're not going to be in pride, you're not going to sit there and hide your sin, but confess it. Like that reading that I just did, Jehovah said he's going to give some mercy to some people, and somebody was confessing there. And we had a promise there in that reading, as if people were mad because, well, you kept a promise, because we got a covenant here with death itself and with Sheol, because we're taking refuge in all of our lies, and you promised to keep this lie with us. But Jehovah said, if you will confess and forsake your sin, you will find some mercy. Okay, you will find some mercy, and you need to give ear and hear and hearken to the words of what He's bringing out here. Okay, we're talking about people getting stripped and whipped, and their hide being flayed and stripped. Do you understand that? I mean, talking about people that do that to people, and they're going to reap what they sow as well, and they think that we're tight within that kind of stuff. No, what you are doing is causing Jehovah to come on down here, and He's going to disannul your little stupidness. You're going to feel exactly what it feels like, because you're going to be consumed in this thing. You really are going to be consumed, and your body's going to waste away. We got prophecy about like nuclear stuff also taking place as well, and people's eyes and being just sunk down in their sockets and stuff like that. We living in a real, you talk about tribulous time. At the same time, Jehovah said that those who know their Elohim would stand up here and we'd do exploits, and that we would shine. That those people who belong to Jehovah, they'd be instructing many. Now, whether many people that are being instructed take what you say or not, you know, if you are knowing Jehovah and you are keeping covenant, you will be getting up and you will try to be saving as many people from this fire, from this craziness, from people that are in pridefulness, because you would be wise to save a soul, understanding what the prophecy really is about. We talk about a genocide. We talk about people just being wiped out, and just tribes of people just being wiped out. We're right here, being consumed, being eaten, and wasting away, and all because they don't want to forsake and say. And so you always say, well, then I'm going to thrust something down upon this group that thinks that they're okay because, well, look, I made an agreement with Sheol itself. Okay, well, let's get the whip out. Yesterday I did a reading and the whip was there, and I said, whip these people, Jehovah. And I really didn't realize what I was saying until today when He took me to this. And so this is a warning. I was going to wait till the Shabbat to share this, but I just felt led to just go ahead and share it. Because there's all kinds of stuff that's already coming up on the earth. And I spoke just recently, I got on the camera and the Spirit just began to speak through me in a way that He never had before, and began to tell me about things that were going to come up on the earth, and even strange things that were going to be. He was bringing it out like the ocean and things that were way down in the ocean that people hadn't even discovered. But then when this thing came up onto the earth, spiritually speaking per se, it was strange things. It was strange things. So if people want to sit there and be mockers and go ahead and tighten their bands, you just go right on ahead. You were none of the great ones anyway. You will be a part of this genocide that is just completely going to be wiped out, okay, because of your pride. You are going to have the temple in the side of your head be struck so hard, you're going to be dead. You'll never rise again. You just never will be rise again because you've made an agreement with death, so death it shall be forevermore for you. This is huge, people. It really is huge. I just wanted to share it. Something to think about. Until next time, shalom.